We can always count on the stunts, but did they deliver a good movie with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? Let's talk about it. Big shout out to Paramount for hosting an early screening of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I was very excited to see this movie. I am a big fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. They're not always awesome, these films. They don't always deliver on the hopes and expectations that I have, and many of you have as well. But there's always entertainment value. There's always something in each of these movies that puts a smile on your face and makes you kind of shake your head about how crazy Tom Cruise is. And you know what? With Final Reckoning, there are sequences that definitely make you feel that same way, specifically when he's dangling out of a biplane, which was nuts to watch. But this movie, I think, has a lot of heavy lifting to do because it sort of ties together threads from the 30-year history of this franchise. And as I was watching the movie, which is rife with lots of little callbacks and flashbacks and characters that you've seen from across this series, which was really nice, it kind of hit me that I've been watching Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt for this whole time that I've been working on the Electric Playground. The whole 30-year time I've been going to these movies. I can remember with Mission Impossible 2, I was so excited because that was premiering just as E3 was launching in LA, and we kept hearing the Mission Impossible theme, and I wanted to see Mission Impossible 2 before we got into the madness of E3, and it just sticks in my mind. I mean, I've just sort of been covering the games and all the stuff that I've been doing this whole time, and then Mission Impossible has been there, this consistent thing that we can kind of rely on along the way. And it's been cool, you know, there's been lots of great adventures. And The Final Reckoning is really a sequel to Dead Reckoning, which came out a couple of years ago. Tom Cruise has been working with Christoper McQuarrie, who is an awesome writer and director for the better part of 10 years on this franchise. They really kind of benefit each other. I think McQuarrie's got a fantastic talent at being able to put these jigsaw puzzles together and to craft these stories that have lots of little dead ends and corners and twists and turns. And Cruise, I think, likes to create these big epic cinematic moments, these stunt sequences that you never forget. And so if you kind of stitch all of these films together, they give you some really awesome sequences. Great stuff like the Henry Cavill fight with Fallout. And my favorite of all of the Mission Impossible movies is Rogue Nation, which was, I think, the first one that McQuarrie worked on as a director with Tom Cruise, and I love that movie. And The Final Reckoning is kind of lifting off on the tale that was proposed with Dead Reckoning. There is this evil AI that has infiltrated systems all over the world. It's trying to take over the world, and Isaiah Morales is still involved, and he's trying to interweave his story into this omnipresent threat that this AI is for the world. And what Tom Cruise and his team are trying to do is basically save the world, and that's reinforced with actual dialogue in the movie several times, and I found that a little bit tedious. There are definitely some cheesy bits in this movie. The fact that AI is trying to take over everything and it's using algorithm and misinformation, I mean, it's topical and it's very pertinent to the world that we currently exist in, but it also feels a little artificial because the threat that we currently exist in with all of the social media garbage that's out there and all of the rage baiting and all of these, you know, manipulations that we have to navigate in the real world already feel more menacing than this cartoonish threat that this movie kind of suggests. Although I did like that was the message of the movie, is like we need to kind of fight for truth and we need to get along and we need to not have the countries of the world pit their arms against each other, you know? Like, I thought that was pretty cool. It honestly reminded me a little bit of the let's all get along message of Superman 4, Quest for Peace, you know, when Christopher Reeve really wanted to create a stop nuclear war kind of message with that story. There was a little bit of a through line here with The Final Reckoning, but obviously this is a lot better produced and a lot snappier and a lot wittier, a lot slicker and cooler and a lot better in every way than something like that. So this might be the only sort of comparison that you get to Superman 4 Quest for Peace, but I admire that. I admire this kind of de-escalation conversation and this empathetic kind of viewpoint that this movie takes. And also it's very human because there is this idea of like, how long can you keep going with this? And the road finally does run out and there's a fragility agility, and certainly Ethan Hunt is tested to his limits. There's an incredible underwater sequence in here, which was so expertly prepared. It was so intense, and you were so nervous for the character, and what Tom Cruise kind of goes through in the performance, amazing. And it's virtually silent, except for the sound effects of the stuff that he's dealing with. I liked all of that. I also liked all of the performances. Simon Pegg was great. Ving Rhames has got an excellent piece in this movie. I like seeing Nick Offerman in there. Janet McTeer. Hannah Waddingham was great in this movie. Angela Bassett is terrific in this. She plays the president. She's amazing. And Tremel Tillman from Severance has got a great part in this film as well. I really enjoyed the movie. Like, it really does deliver on the entertainment value. I just felt like some of the storytelling was a little heavy-handed, a little bit too much, little cheeseball in some places, but I love the artistry. The camera work is incredible. All of the whip-snap editing that's happening in there, and a lot of it is interweaving so much history. And the movie does feel a little bit bloated. It feels a little bit silly and hard to believe, like all of the Mission Impossible films, but it's still satisfying as, you know, big screen entertainment. I love the music in this film as well. I've always loved the Mission Impossible theme, but there's lots of great musical pieces through it. This is just a tuned and well-crafted film. Cruise is excellent, as he always is. He's just so riveting on camera. He's really committed. He makes the impossible believable, pun intended, and you're just along for the ride. You know, wherever the filmmakers are going to take you, it's like, okay, let's go. I did feel like Isaiah Morales was a bit sort of mustache twirly as the villain. It's like every line he says is he's just an a-hole, and he has to reinforce that there's nothing you can do. I'm the bad guy. I'm always going to be the bad guy. It was a little bit too over the top and silly, even in the confines of this franchise. I didn't particularly like a lot of his stuff in Dead Reckoning either. I think they could have gotten stronger. I mean, this is a series that has had Philip Seymour Hoffman as a bad guy, and Henry Cavill's excellent turn in Fallout was really fun to watch as well. They could have gone a little bit deeper and a little bit more nefarious with their evil doing in this. And I think part of that is relying so much exposition on this faceless, artificially intelligent creation, which is timely, but maybe not as effective narratively as this series has been in the past. But I applaud the work. I applaud all of the ways that it tries to loop in its whole history. I have to say that I much prefer the James Bond films, and I've much preferred even the Jason Bourne movies. I think they've reached some higher highs, but Mission Impossible has delivered a lot of fun over the years. And I don't know if this is going to be the last one. I don't know what Cruise and company have got planned, but if this is the last one, it is a satisfying conclusion for a series that has been entertaining all the way along. In terms of where Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning stacks up in my pecking order, I think I have to put Rogue Nation as number 1. I think I'd probably put Mission Impossible 3 as number 2. I'd put Fallout at number 3. I would put Dead Reckoning and The Final Reckoning tied at number 4. Then I'd put in the Mission Impossible 1 film, then Ghost Protocol, and then finally Mission Impossible 2, which has not aged the best. Although that's some pretty good cheesy John Woo fun as well. It is a pretty damn cool series when you reflect back on it. And thank you, Tom Cruise, for entertaining us for 30 years with these movies. I'm going to give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning an 8 out of 10.